You miss me? I guess that's a big fat no.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy was a very popular TV series in the late 90s and early 2000s, so naturally there had to be a video game adaptation. The show, conceived and led by the one and only Joss Whedon, you know, this guy. Still don't know him? Well, yeah, he also directed, well, this. So, you know, very safe hands here. The very first game for this TV show was originally conceived for the PlayStation, and then moved to the Dreamcast before finally seeing the light of day and being released for the Xbox in 2002. So, is it a good game? Well, let's jump in and find out. Slayer style.
A time when the world was young and demons ran unfettered across the face of the earth. The powers that be chose a young woman, one girl in all the world, to combat the forces of darkness. Upon her death, the power passed to another, and another, down over the millennia, with each girl inheriting the power of her predecessor, the power of the Slayer.
I don't know about you guys, but that theme tune gets me excited every time I hear it. But as usual, let's talk about what we see first. Graphically, the game looks good. The characters look like their TV counterparts, and the environments are nice and faithful to the show. However, this is where one of my issues lie. Sometimes it is just too dark, and it forces you to increase the brightness in game, and this puts you in somewhat of an awkward situation of finding that right level of brightness. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but it is an issue. However, this aside, it was clearly made to be a faithful adaptation of what we were used to seeing on the TV, and for that, I highly approve. So, music is a tricky one in this game, as it acts very differently to any game we have looked at so far. The music plays more of an ambient atmosphere setting role as opposed to the, yeah, let's do this music, like, well, what we've been used to. I mean, this is not a bad thing, but it does leave you wanting more, as most of the time the music is so much of a background noise, you won't even notice it's there. However, one thing that I must mention is that around 90% of the TV show cast actually did their own voice acting in this game, which is pretty cool. NPCs though fall into the trap of repetitive dialogue. I mean, to be honest, so does Buffy herself. The catchphrases, while slightly humorous and in fitting with the show, well, let's just say they will cause some head-shaking moments after you hear them for the 100th time. And no, that is not an exaggeration. However, if you grew up in the 90s, well, some of them are cheesy one-liners which you will love, such as Vampire saying, "Don't!" when beaten, and Buffy's, "Oops, I did it again." Cheesy, but lovable at the same time. So, overall, the music does its job, but feels lacking, and the sound effects and voice acting, while they are great, the repetitiveness makes them feel like a washout. Now, the gameplay. Where do I start? So, as you have probably seen in the footage, this is a third-person action-adventure survival horror beat-em-up. Well, that's a mouthful to get us started. The game has you take on the role of Buffy Summers, the Slayer, and the game almost takes the format of a standard Buffy episode. The story for the game is quite nice and almost like a bonus feature to fans of the show. The controls work really well for the most part, and everything flows perfectly, be it in combo attacks, throwing your stakes at vampires, or just picking up a random weapon and decapitating a zombie. As well as usual beat-em-up mechanics, you will find yourself hunting for collectibles, solving puzzles, in quite a nice variety of gameplay. The game works really well, however, expect to replay segments over and over again. This game has no true save feature. Each area is instead broken up into sections, each normally lasting about 5 to 15 minutes, where you'll have to fight enemies and face pitfalls. So, you die right before the end of a segment, then back to the beginning of that section you go. Again, this is not a huge problem until near the end of the game, especially in a section called the Dreamer's Realm. Pitfalls and one-hit deaths await you there. It will test the patience for even the most relaxed gamer. Again though, these are all minor complaints, and these really don't spoil the overall experience. So you will have lots of fun kicking demon butt. So there we have it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As you have probably guessed, I am a fan of this game just as I am a fan of the show. However, is the game worth playing today? Yes. Yes, it is. It is fun and enjoyable. Although I would say only play it if you enjoy the show or have an interest in watching the show. Well, with everything I have said today, I am giving this game my rating of fanfiction, made by a fan for a fan. This game is for lovers of Buffy and made by people who care about it. Did you enjoy this review? Looking forward to the next one? Let me know your thoughts on this one and let me know what you'd like to see me review next. And if you're new, I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button too. Thanks for watching, and of course, bye!